There's been a lot of talk about, where Giannis is going to go. I think he turns 31 tomorrow or the next day. But, when you look at a franchise and you think you got it set up, you think you did it right. And, I can give you credit for boldness, but the league is too deep and too competitive to sit still and just say, oh, we got draft picks and we're going to grow. Aggression cuts both ways. When it works, you get to hang banners. When it doesn't, it's a disaster. Milwaukee with the Dame Lillard, big swing and miss, and that was supposed to extend a championship window. Instead, the Bucks under 500. Dame Lillard's gone, and now Giannis reportedly asking out. How about the Clippers? They spent years flipping picks, prospects, and they wanted to have a veteran super team. They're 6-16. No first-round pick on the horizon, and a harsh reminder what happens when that bill finally comes due. You also have Dallas. The Mavericks, they emptied future draft picks. They build around Luka. Then they trade Luka. They bring in a aging, injury-prone big man. They're 8-15. You take a swing, you take a miss, and sometimes it can hurt a franchise for a long, long time. Yeah, Paulie.
2020-2021, the Milwaukee Bucks won the NBA Finals. Mike Budenholzer, 2 years later, they have a first-round exit, and they fire him. And it's one of those situations where your expectations get heightened, and you get rid of the person who caused those expectations to happen.
And you have a window of opportunity here, and they thought bringing in a guy who can help in the pick and roll with Giannis, with Dame Lillard, but it didn't work out the way it was scripted. And now Dame is done, and Giannis could be as well. But this is what you don't want to do. If you're Milwaukee, you don't go, now, who could we trade him to? Okay, he wants to go to the Knicks. How about we bring in Karl Anthony Towns? That's not an answer. That would not solve the problem here. If you're Milwaukee, then can you get X number of first-round picks for Giannis? I mean, Oklahoma City doesn't have enough roster spots for all of the draft picks they're going to have. What if you said to – and OKC can say, well, we won a title without him. Right now we're 21-1. We don't need him. But if you think about it, if you're OKC, you got 3 picks in the first 15 this year, right now. What if you said, we'll give you these 3 first-round picks and maybe a player or two, and you bring in Giannis at age 31? To me, that would be intriguing from Milwaukee's perspective. I don't know what OKC would think about this, but you bring Giannis in with that group, and you don't want to mess with chemistry. As much as we like to go, oh, well, man, imagine that. You put an all-star on that team, and you got great chemistry, obviously. But other teams that are mentioned, San Antonio Spurs, pairing him with Victor Wembanyama, okay. The Rockets names, just another team that's come up. So there's going to be a lot of teams that would be interested. The Miami Heat, they seem to come up, all the time when it comes to trades, potential trades. But we'll talk to Wendy about that what can you get in return? Because you got to think of it 2 ways. We always think of the player going to the team and you go, yes, but what about the team who's giving up that star player? It's like Luka. We celebrate it. Man, he's going to the Lakers. Good for the Lakers. And then I go, okay, what's Dallas getting? And that's the bad part of the deal. If you would have said that they got a couple of players you could build on and that were younger, then you go, okay, I kind of get it. But Anthony Davis? And then you have a GM who goes, well, you win with defense. Yeah, if the guy's healthy enough to play defense, then maybe you do, but you did get to an NBA Finals with a guy who was out of shape. And now he goes to the Lakers. It's what do you get in return? That's what I would want to know. If I'm the Knicks and I can get Giannis, hell yeah. You got to win a title. I mean, it's been a long, long time since you won a title. So now you get a chance to put Brunson with Giannis. Okay. Now, I know you're going to give up, players, but you get an opportunity to get a guy like this. And yes, it might be a window of 3 years or 4 years to win that title. But the Celtics are down this year. Now is the year to take advantage of that with no Jason Tatum. I mean, who are you going against? Detroit, Miami, Indiana doesn't have Halliburton. So take advantage of the window of opportunity, certainly in the East, to get to the NBA Finals. Yes, Marvin.
All right, my issue is when the Knicks get eliminated, if they get Giannis because they don't have enough depth, it's because you traded Karl Anthony Towns, Josh Hart, Landry Shamet, Deuce McBride. That's how you win an NBA championship. That's how the Bucks, that's how the Nuggets win an NBA championship. That's how the Thunder win an NBA championship, with depth. Giannis and Brunson aren't going to win an NBA title just with them and just a bunch of guys. So that's my only issue.
Do you think they're winning a title with Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson and Landry Shamet?
I don't think they're winning a title either way.
Josh Hart? Okay.
Get Giannis.
Yes,
Go ahead.
Paulie. Yeah, Paulie.
It's one of those things, though, when I think about Giannis, I think it was 2 years ago, he signed a 3-year, $186 million extension, and it was right after they went out and got Lillard to convince him to stay. It'll almost be sad if he leaves the Bucks. They had it. They had an international superstar for a long time, and they're not going to keep him the whole way.
Yeah, but he gave them a title, right?
I guess it's more about what they could have done for the second half of his career and a series of missteps, which I don't think people criticized the Lillard acquisition at the time. You look back with different view of it.
Well, we looked at Milwaukee and we said their second best player would be Chris Middleton or Drew Holiday. At the time with Dame Lillard, you were getting, a sniper. You were getting an elite scorer to take the pressure off Giannis. Yes, Eden.
Yeah, I don't think the Dame move was a bad idea. It just didn't work. There's no reason that on paper it wouldn't have been perfect. It just, for some reason, it just didn't click. But I don't think it was a bad idea necessarily.
No, I thought it was a great swing. But you know what? I'm not the GM. I'm not part of the fan base, and I can only see it from my perspective. And I thought, okay, because I thought, there's these teams in the East were loading up, and you had to do something as well. Chris Middleton's a good player. Drew Holiday, really good player. Dame gave you something a little bit more. It just didn't work out. And now Giannis is looking around going, we're not winning anytime soon here. I may not get another opportunity to play and win. And you can tell when he plays hard. He plays with passion. And I think it's hard to accept losing because at some point in your career, when you play and you're on losing teams, you have to kind of accept that you may lose tonight. And that's hard to do because most of these guys come from programs where they don't lose. I remember players from Duke would go to the NBA, they'd lose more games in 2 weeks. Christian Laettner, he'd lose more games in 2 weeks than he did in, his entire senior year. But I think that's the part that you have to factor in. Giannis wants to be mentioned with Luka, with Joker. He wants to be mentioned with SGA. He wants to be, and he's not. It's almost out of sight, out of mind, and he's having another great season. He puts up incredible numbers, but we've gotten to that point where we go, okay, you average 30 and you average 12 and you average, 6. Yes, Marvin.
And now Giannis is playing for something different than being the best player in the game. He's playing for a top 10 all-time spot now with his numbers, and you can't be an all-timer, at least a top 10 all-timer, without more than one ring. So he's playing for more than just the best.